All right, Zoom world, you guys can hear me okay, yes? All right, perfect, thank you, Michelle. All right, so the first thing that you guys want to do when you are going to be working with a client is to create the opportunity before you do any type of documentation. So what I mean by that is you want to go into your contacts, ensure that your client lives within the contacts. I'm just gonna use myself. If they don't, you can hit add contact. For the sake of the class, I'm just gonna look and select. So this is the client that I'll be working with today. And now I'm gonna hit on opportunities. Now, just so you guys know, we are gonna go through the buyer and seller checklist today, so I will do both. But for the class, just wanna show you how to create an opportunity, and we will go with a seller. So here, it's gonna give you some information, and one of the most important pieces here is the opportunity type. Choosing the right one is going to assign the documents required for said transaction type. So what do I mean? If you have a rental listing, you will choose landlord, not listing. If you have a tenant, you're gonna choose tenant, not buyer. Make sense? So you wanna make sure you're choosing the correct opportunity type. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose listing. It tells you the client right here, which I went into my client, hit create opportunity, so that's why it shows me that. Here's a big tip for you guys as far as compliance goes. If you want us to easily access your opportunity, the best way to do that is by naming this the property address when working with the listing. When you have a listing, you have an address. Give us the address right away. If you're working with the buyer, there's no address to input just yet. So you don't have to worry about the address just yet for a buyer. But as far as for compliance, the easiest thing for us is to locate the opportunity using the property address. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this to 123 Main Street. Followed by what is my commission rate? I'm gonna put whatever that amount is. I'm gonna put a huge outrageous amount just so you guys get the drift. Then here, another tip for compliance. So an opportunity phase is basically where you're at in the transaction. So are you cultivating this person? Are you setting an appointment, or are you active? So let's say I've already had my appointment, my listing presentation, and now they just called me and said, yes, I want to go with you as my listing agent. Beautiful. Let's do active. In order for us to gain access to your opportunities, the opportunity must be active. And I'll show you guys later, once we get into the opportunity, how you can change that if you forgot to do active right away. Let's say you started off as cultivate because you're just cultivating them. Not a problem. We'll leave it at that, and I'll show you guys how to change it. Then you hit create. Any questions so far on the creation of the opportunity before I jump in? No? Zoom world? Okay. All right, so now you're gonna see, it brings you back to the contact card, and you're gonna see the timeline here. It shows you in chronological order when the opportunities were created. So I'm gonna choose the newest one and go with this one. Once you click it, it will open up another tab. Please make sure you do not have a pop-up blocker. Okay, pop-up blockers will prevent this tab from opening, and then you're gonna think the system's broken. It's not. You just have to remove your pop-up blocker. Okay. All right. Couple other tips here for compliance. When you have a listing, you should jump in here to the top and hit select from listings. Now it'll show you all of your listings. You can look up any other listings, but really it should be just your listings because it's already synced with the MLS. If you haven't gone live on the MLS, disregard all this. You're gonna do this later. Okay, it has to be live on the MLS in order for you to sync it up here. But very important, we have to have an address up there. Okay, so either you add it here or you add it here, but best practice, when it is your listing, you will select it from here. When you're working with a buyer, you want to sync it with the property box. And the way you do that is to the right of property, you're going to see a pencil, and you can go ahead and enter the information. But if it is your listing and you've already gone live on the MLS, go ahead and select from here. Okay, all right. Remember I talked about how we can change the phase later on as you've gotten further along with this client. That is going to be done right here under details, key information, and you have this little pencil. This pencil allows you to make a couple of edits, but most importantly is that opportunity phase. So make sure if it wasn't cultivate, you go ahead and you change it to activate, to active, excuse me. Make sure you go from cultivate or appointment and straight to active to let us know, hey, I'm ready for you guys to start checking my stuff, you know? All right. Any questions on the details tab? Because I'm about to dive into the forms. All right, cool. Let's jump into documents. When you jump into documents, on the left-hand side, you're gonna have a pick checklist type, and that dropdown is gonna give you a bunch of different options. You're gonna have single family, listing referral, commercial sales, and condo townhomes. So we've added a new one, which is the condo townhome. So we used to keep single family and condo together, but now we've separated it because we were gonna be requiring a couple of different things per transaction type. So let's go over single family. You're gonna see a lot of the documents are the same and then some will vary. So when you select single family, you're gonna see listed, under contract, and closed. Something extremely important for you guys to understand is compliance goes through each phase of the transaction. So listed, let's go through that. What do we need on listed? I want you guys to understand how to read this. You're gonna have the status, which says, was it uploaded or not? The requirement, is it required, conditional, or optional? If it is required, what do you guys think that means?
A must.
A must. Black and white, no gray area. We require it. If we require it, it's because some way, somehow, the state can come back and say, hey, where is this document? It is required. So please make sure that you guys are submitting anything that is required. Conditional. What would you think conditional would mean? A little bit of gray area.
If that, then this.
Right. So when you look at any document that is conditional, I want you guys to always take a look at the I right next to it. It's gonna tell you what the condition is. So let's say in this example, we have the Miami Association of Realtors status change form. So let's say you get this listing, and then all of a sudden we have to change it from, I don't know, active to withdrawn, active to canceled, active to whatever. We need that document from you signed by the seller and yourself. We need that in here. It's conditional where applicable. If it's not applicable, we don't need it, okay? Let's keep going. So we have the tax record, absolutely required. We need to know that you're under contract with the right person. Simple as that. Listing agreement, we need to make sure that the seller actually agreed to sell their property, okay? Seller's property disclosure, this is the version signed by just the seller. We need that before you go under contract. Please make sure that when you are providing your listing agreement, you're attaching your seller's property disclosure right then and there and say, hey, since we're here, go ahead and do this too, okay? Now, I hear Adrian and me, you do not help them fill it out. You do not tell them what to choose. They are the ones to do that. Do not put yourself in a liability. All right, next thing, wire fraud prevention. We live in South Florida. That's it. That's the reason, okay? All right, next thing, net sheet. So before, the net sheet used to be conditional. Now it is required.
For buyer.
For buyer and seller. Net sheet will be required. Why? Because if there will be compensation, the seller would have already agreed prior. So if in the buyer's case, we can be working with the title company for them to provide a net sheet for the buyer so we can upload the copy here. Now, very important for you guys to understand. On the listed side, the net sheet is provided by your title company. It's not something you have to do by hand. You can ask them to do it. We just need a copy of it. Okay, required. That's new, required. All right, next thing, MLS sheet. MLS sheet will still be required, so please make sure once it goes live, you go ahead and upload that. Now let's look at these conditional forms. Again, the conditional forms are gonna vary based on transaction type. So we have the status change form if applicable. If the property is owned by a business, so an LLC, a trust, whatever, we need the articles of incorporation. Does everybody know how to find that? Yeah. If the company is based out of Florida, you can find it in Sunbiz. Okay, there are different ways we can find it. You can ask them for it. Okay, but we need the articles of incorporation. That is required if applicable. So if we see on the listing agreement that the property is owned by Davies Herrera LLC, we're gonna ask you and flag you and say you're missing the articles of incorporation. So please make sure you are uploading that because we will reject the file until we receive it, which means you are going to delay payment the longer it takes you for you to upload things that are applicable to the transaction. So next thing, blasting disclosure. If you sell the property within Doral, Miramar, Miami Lakes, Hialeah Gardens, and Palm Springs North, we require the blasting disclosure signed by the seller ahead of time. Okay,
Going back. If it's a land trust,
say that one more time.
if it's a land trust,
What about it?
if the property is a land trust.
If it's a land trust property that we need the blasting as well,
No, I'm talking about the,
the articles of incorporation. I would assume if it's not a person as an individual, we will need any type of articles of incorporation for said business, trust, or whatever it may be. I would say we need it across the board. That's an Adrian question. It's a little deeper
I
than
will.
my spectrum. It's above my pay grade, but I'm sure Adrian can answer that for sure. But great question. Next thing, lead-based paint disclosure. When is the lead-based paint disclosure required? If it's built before 1970? 1978, exactly. All right, guys, so I can see everybody went to school and listened to their real estate teachers, right? I appreciate that. Please make sure you have that. If we see that the property was built pre-78, guess what we're gonna do? Reject your file if we don't have your lead-based paint disclosure. Okay, make sure you have that. Next thing is an HOA disclosure. Why would we need, or at what point would we need that HOA disclosure? But do I need it for every property? Simple as that, right? If it's an HOA, we need the HOA disclosure, simple. Next thing is a compensation disclosure agreement. So if you and the seller have already agreed on a compensation disclosure, on that agreement, you can go ahead and upload that. It is optional because we know that most of the time that may happen during the under contract phase. So that's why if you guys have that conversation in advance, you are more than welcome to upload that then. But you will see the compensation agreement under contract in the next section. But before I move on, any questions about the listed side? Pretty self-explanatory, yes?
Yeah.
We try to make it as simple as possible. Yes, there's some extra things in here, but just remember, not everything is required unless applicable. All right, moving forward. Zoom world, you guys good with this section?
It's hard to read the screen. Hi, babies. It's hard to read the screen. I'm trying to zoom it in, but I don't know if you went over the foreign national. I had to provide it for whatever reason. It didn't apply, but they asked me to provide the form and made the buyers sign it. I'm not sure if it's, maybe is there confusion around the requirement with that form?
Great question to ask. Guys, conveyance to foreign buyers, that extra addendum is no longer required. Which you'll see that in the buyer side and the under contract sides. It is no longer required. The as-is contract already states it and title already does that whole affidavit process. So with that, just my advice, please make sure you know your contract. Make sure you are actually explaining the contract to the buyer so that conversation does come up before the whole transaction explodes in your face. Right? Do your due diligence as an agent. So although we don't require that, we did because we wanted to reinforce it, but now it's there, everybody knows about it. But if you're new to the industry, make sure you learn your contracts. Okay, thank you, Isleida. It is not required anymore. So any previous transactions, yes, if they ask for it, you should have provided it, but moving forward, we will not need it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go under contract. Remember guys, right now I'm still on the single family. All right, so when we're under contract, we need the purchase contract and addendas. Now, somebody asked us about the title of that because you will see now we have added addendas here at the bottom. Lead-based paint, FHA, HOA, housing for older persons, condo writers if necessary, addendum 1, 2, and 3. So what we expect is for all of them to be broken up, but if they're not, on page, what page, is that page 11? Of the as-is contract where the addendas box is, that paragraph. So on page 11, you have that paragraph where it gives you the selection of all your addendums. Whatever is selected is what compliance will look for. So I'll give you a great story. About a year and a half ago, I had an agent get a file rejected. We couldn't figure out what was going on. I look in the comments and I see that they rejected it because we were missing a COVID-19 addendum. This was after COVID. We no longer needed that addendum, yet the buyer's agent submitted that to our listing agent. And the listing agent kept saying, yeah, but I didn't select that. We get it. But even as a listing agent, you are required to receive every addendums that are applicable to the contract. If not, the contract is not a contract. So you must have your addendums, okay? Very, very important, even as a listing agent, that you're double checking that paragraph and ensuring that a non-related addendum hasn't been selected, okay? All right, so let's go through. So you have your purchase contract, your escrow letter. We need a proof of deposit. If there was 2 escrows, we've added an additional placeholder here for that second escrow, but you see it says conditional. It's only conditional if applicable. If they did 1, or if you got 1 letter from title with all deposits, that's even better. Seller's property disclosure signed by your buyer and your seller. Your mortgage ABA, your title ABA. Now understand this mortgage and title ABA is required due to the fact that we are in relationship with these companies and it is our job to let our customer know. Even if they decide not to use them, that is okay. We are just advising them that our office is in business with these companies. Yes.
So does Amy like, let's say they don't go through with using Amy, would Amy request it from the other title company? Or do we have to request it?
This is from you to your client. So this is not actually title. This is our requirement as a brokerage that we have to inform the customer that we are in business with these third-party companies. So it's literally just a form, like UTs, Universal Titles, is a form that has a couple of their like costs and fees, wire fraud, all this, but at the top, it talks about our affiliation to the business. You don't have to use the company. It doesn't matter if you do or if you don't. We just have to tell you that we're in business with them. Please sign it for me, Mr. Customer. Okay, yeah. All right, next thing is you will now see the compensation agreements and the modification to compensation agreement forms in here. Now, right now, because we still have a lot of the previous listing agreements in play, we have the seller's broker to buyer's broker. Right? But which is the document that Adrian has advised us to start using?
Seller to
Seller to buy
vice
broker.
broker.
Who took the class? Which 10 what are we choosing? A or B?
B.
B! I love you. Okay, so for those of you that have not taken Adrian's DocuDive class, please make sure you put it on your schedule multiple times if you have to. But it is gonna be very important that you guys understand. We will be removing the seller's broker to buyer's broker eventually. We're gonna give it about 30 days because hopefully all of those have fizzled out. But right now, we do have all 4 of the versions, so the 2 compensation agreements and the 2 modification agreements. So understand, if applicable, we need this. Yes,
There's a condition in order to choose B.
what,
If you request 6 bananas from the seller, and the seller agreed to give you the 6 bananas, and then you pay the other broker, you don't need to select it.
we cannot do that anymore without the agreement of the seller that we are doing for.
Still, yes,
compensation.
we're gonna have another form,
Which is the compensation agreement form, saying,
Which is-
seller, you're agreeing to pay whatever bananas to the buyer's agent.
buyer.
Right, but right now, what Natasha is enforcing is we are not to select 10A, which is seller's broker to buyer's broker. We are not doing broker to broker anymore because it's too much of a liability for us as a brokerage to hold that monies and to be responsible to disperse that monies, which is why 10B is the selection that is required from you. We're not accepting 10A on all the new listing agreements.
So if we decide to pre-sell the buyer brokerage,
I don't wanna cut you off, Omer, but I'm not teaching documents because I am not a broker, so I don't wanna
but I
get too
need, I
deep
need
into
to
that.
know.
Yeah, but Adrian is having a ton of classes. I know he's having classes this week and next week. So I suggest going to him with these, but in a group setting where in the classroom, it's gonna benefit the whole group, right? These questions are great. I just don't wanna give you guys the wrong answer. I know what I'm told, so that's what I'm gonna tell you. Everything else is
My baby. As a broker, we have a general way we're doing it now.
correct, as our brokerage.
So definitely, but we were there till like 7 on Friday.
Yeah, he was going in, because there was a lot of questions, so please make sure you guys are taking the.
I was one of them, I did ask the question.
Ask
It
again.
wasn't clear.
Attending.
Yeah, exactly. Go again and ask again. All right, so you have those,
Jennifer, can I
forms.
make it-
If applicable, please go ahead and update. Any questions, Zoom world, before I continue on these docs?
I have a question, Michelle Huther with Patio Cordo team.
Sure, what's up, Michelle?
So just a quick question with regards to the ABAs for Keller Williams mortgage and the UTI. Why wouldn't we get those signed by the seller prior to a contract, just so that we have them ready, we can include it?
Why wouldn't you, or why
Yeah.
wouldn't?
Why wouldn't we? Since we have
You
to have.
can absolutely do that, sure. We just, I'm gonna be honest with you, Michelle, I'm gonna be 100% honest with everybody in the room. We try to tread lightly as far as what documents we're placing where, because we knew, for example, on the listed side, we were gonna get a little bit of clapback from listing agents because, oh my God, this is too many documents to provide them. Right? And so that is why we place them here on under contract. Now, Michelle, how you do business, I would love if you can get that ahead of time, right? But
Yes, sir.
in all honesty, the only reason why we didn't do it in advance is because we tried to be careful with the amount of forms we're placing under every phase of the transaction. That's the truth.
One other question, wouldn't
Sure.
the mortgage one be conditional? Because if it's a cash transaction, it's not needed.
Yes, and I didn't get the verbiage from Adrian on that. That's what I got. So that is actually something when I was reviewing, I sent to him. So right now, let's say required, but please guys, keep up with command. Command will tell you if something changes, you'll see it in there, because I'll make the change right in here. So yes, Michelle, you are not incorrect at all about that.
Okay, I just put a little Word document saying cash deal, no mortgage.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Alright.
That's perfect.
Because that's conditional, I did a cash deal, but it was a hard money lender that did come with a mortgage.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, there's always, real estate is conditional, y'all. That's like the point of today's story. Okay, thank you, Michelle, for those questions. Anybody else on Zoom before I continue? All right. Again, now we have our updated net sheet. If applicable, we're gonna have a blasting disclosure, if applicable, that must now also be signed by the buyer. So you already had it signed by your seller, now you have to make sure the buyer signs. They must know that they're in a blasting area. Then we have FHAVA, lead-based paint disclosure signed by all parties, HOA disclosure if applicable, housing pros or person, condo writer, addendums 1, 2, and 3. So again, we placed a lot of placeholders, and I'll also be honest with you guys, because I feel like we can be transparent with one another. I had way too many people tell me that they forgot to add a lead-based paint disclosure. It wasn't in command. I didn't know I needed it. It is a federal requirement, ladies and gentlemen. Our brokerage cannot pay you unless we have a lead-based paint disclosure, because it is a federal requirement, not a L5L requirement. Okay, guys? Please make sure you guys are doing your due diligence. Go to your classes. Okay, next, let's talk about closed. So now in closed, we have the DA up at the top, so when it's ready, you know it's right there. Once it closes, we need the copy of the HUD and the ALTA. We need a copy of the commission checks or the wire confirmation, which title will provide that to you. If you did your walkthrough, we need a walkthrough form in here. And if applicable, the modification to compensation, if anything changed from the moment you went under contract to the closing table. Okay? So please make sure you guys do that. Now let's talk about how to get a DA and what a DA is. A DA is a disbursement authorization form. It is a form that the brokerage will create based on this. Did you upload all your documents? Has the file been approved? And did you create your commission tab? So we have a true understanding of what needs to be on this DA. So the DA is the way that the office knows how to split the monies. Okay, because right now, everybody gets an automatic DA. We don't upload it because we don't know if you've charged a transaction fee. We don't know if you need to pay your transaction coordinator. We don't know if you have to pay a referral fee. You guys get my drift? So you guys have to make sure that you're going in and you're filling or you're uploading all of the documents. So let's talk about timelines real quick. On the listed side, how many hours after you have gotten your executed listing agreement do you have to upload?
You mean upload into command?
To provide to your brokerage, which means you upload to command.
24 hours,
How much?
24 hours?
I love 24 hours, but the law says 48.
I was gonna say, isn't that immediately?
Yeah,
something like the
So
same?
24 hours is my favorite answer, so let's just remember 24 hours. Guys, it is the law. It is not us, it is the law. You must upload the listing agreement to your brokerage or provide it to your brokerage, which this is the way that we ask you to provide it. You provide it to your brokerage within 48 hours, okay? So what does that mean? I just got my listing agreement signed, I'm uploading it. I'm gonna upload every other document that I already have. As you are uploading your documents, you can go ahead and hit submit to MC. Now, I wanna make something very clear. If all you did was upload your listing agreement, you will get the file rejected because it's gonna tell you you're missing A, B, C, D, right? So it's gonna tell you everything you're missing along with. That's okay, at least you already uploaded it. At least they've already reviewed it and let you know, because what'll happen is on the status. So right here under listing agreement, you'll have a status and it'll say approved, for example. Or it'll say something verified, like if you charge a transaction fee or something like that. It'll have notes in here for every document letting you know. So in the listed side, you should have everything uploaded within, what, 5 business days of you getting that listing agreement signed? You upload your listing agreement, get your seller's property disclosure, your wire fraud, your net sheet, la 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 la. Then, after you've submitted this section to MC, let's say it takes 3 days to get under contract. Congratulations, amazing. That means you priced that property just right that it already got an offer. You need to make sure as soon as you have an executed offer that you are beginning to upload everything under contract. Now, once you begin uploading under contract, you also must submit to MC. Now, once you go under contract on average, how long does it take to get to the closing table? 30 days. I like that answer. Anywhere from 30 to 45 days. Cash could be a lot sooner, right? So it just really depends. So here's why I say that out loud is for you guys to understand you have 30 to 45 days to ensure that this file has been approved, so you get your DA. This file, the process from the moment you go listed under contract to about 5 days before closing, you have about 10 business days of getting this file approved. Because there's a lot of back and forth. Hey, you forgot this. Hey, you were missing an initial on page 4. Hey, you did this, right? So they're gonna let you know what's missing and what's wrong, so that way you can get your file approved. Now, once they do that and you submitted everything, you're gonna see some really pretty green words that say approved. It's gonna say approved under listing. It'll say approved under contract. Now, once you've gone under contract, you immediately want to create your commission tab. Immediately want to create your commission tab. So I'm gonna give you a real life example. I just got an offer, my seller signs it, I'm ready to upload. I come into command, I upload my contract, I upload all of my other forms, my addendas and stuff like that. I hit submit to MC, and that same moment, I'm gonna jump straight to the offers and commissions tab. When I go to offers and commissions, I'm gonna go ahead and create it. I'm gonna hit add new offer. When you hit add new offer, you're gonna go ahead and enter the property address, which in reality, it would have already pulled in. But I'm gonna type it in. Once you do this, Mickey Mouse is the buyer. Lorraine, you're selling this house to Mickey.
Can I ask a question while you're doing that, Debbie?
Yes,
So I don't enter the DA request, the commission request, until after the loan commitment has been approved. Because sometimes it cancels prior to that and I don't want to submit it prior because then we have to terminate it. Is that something that's still okay or?
you know, Michelle, that's actually a really good best practice.
Okay,
And now, guys, I'm gonna give you Michelle's point of view. This is her job. This is what she does on the patio quarter team, along with 100 other things that she's amazing at. But one of her main pieces is this compliance piece. So for her job is she's going in every single day and checking on her opportunities. Now, for those of you that do not have a TC, that may not be a good best practice for you because you may forget. And if you forget to create your commission tab, you will not get a DA on time, most likely. So for Michelle or anyone that has a TC, please, I love that. Because their job is to make sure that that is updated, but for you guys that are single agents that perhaps don't have a TC, I'm gonna suggest you do it right away. If for whatever reason something needs to be terminated, yes, there is a workaround. There is a workaround in the back end. We can push it back to you so you guys can update it. So there is a workaround, but for Michelle, I love that. So for any TCs on the call, that is a great best practice. And for you individual agents that are really great with checking your stuff, that is also a really good best practice. Wait until after the loan commitment has been done and you're ready to go, and then you can go ahead and do this step. Thank you, Michelle. All right, so for sales price, I'm gonna enter, we get a good commission today, 1.5, yeah. All right, then you're gonna enter your contract date, which your contract date was when the last person executed the contract. So that means all parties have officially signed. And then my closing date. And then you're gonna create and accept offer. Oops. And always make sure that you have filled everything out. All right, so if this happens where you get some sort of an error message, if it says listing not in KWLS or listing not syncing or listing, etc., that is a bug in the system. It hasn't really been it's not as consistent as it used to be, but it's still happening. So I'm gonna show you guys a workaround. The way you do that is you come to the right of that error message and it says create new listing. And you're gonna go ahead and create. You are not going to select from KWLS. Okay, you're going to create the new listing. You're gonna come in here. It's gonna ask you for some minimal information that is required. Go ahead and fill that in. Now, again, this is not happening to everyone or as often. So if it's not happening to you, God bless you. But if it is, here is your workaround. Enter the information of the property. I understand, create and select listing. Then, once that is done, you're gonna start to see a bunch of these boxes, ignore them. Come down to the bottom right and hit continue to create. Continue to create. Once you do that, now let's go ahead and go all the way back to the bottom, so save and accept. And it's officially gonna bring you to your commission side. All right, so let's talk about this commission side. You're not gonna have 3 boxes. You're gonna have general information, listing commission, and agent payment. So I'm always gonna start off on general information. I'm gonna jump to edit. But let's say the sales price actually went down because there was some sort of negotiation. By the time the purchase contracts came in, it was not 1.5. We're going down to 1,450. All right, boom. Okay, I can change that. Then I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna select my name. I'm gonna hit update. When I select my name, this gives me an opportunity to add additional things or to pay out anything additional that I need to pay out. So let's talk about a bonus. A bonus is when you go to your listing agreement or your listing appointment and you say, hey, on my listing agreement, just want to let you know, there is a transaction fee of $7.99 in order for us to work together. That goes towards your marketing, that goes to whatever, right? That is where you enter your $7.99. Okay, then down here it shows you gross commission, and that's because I was getting 89%. So disregard that beautiful number. All right, next big number, the big number, big money, baby. All right, then we have outside referrals. We're gonna leave that alone for right now because there's actually a cute little blue button that we're gonna be able to click on and fill out any outside referrals. But let me explain to you what that is. Outside referral means there's an agent in Kentucky that calls you and says, Tavia, my cousin is moving to Florida. She's relocating for a job. I want you to work with her. I'm going to send you a referral agreement. We're going to negotiate on a commission split, and you're going to pay me out X% for this client. Great. That is an outside referral. You're getting to the closing table with that client, which means now you have to pay me because I'm the one who sent you their information, right? So that is an outside referral, but again, we're gonna leave that alone. Inside referral, so in this case, my license is with Pines. So let's say I wanna work on a deal with Omer. I have a listing, I'm like, man, Omer, I think you would be great on this with me. Let's negotiate how much we'll do, 50-50, whatever, 60-40, whatever it is that we agree upon. Now that means I'm gonna be paying you because you're in my market center. Inside referral means someone in your market center, their license is here. If their license is outside of Pines, that means you're gonna be paying out an outside referral. All right, additional deductions, we know about our $300 fee from the brokerage, so that's already in there. If I wanna donate to PW Cares, et cetera, et cetera. So down here, you're gonna see that add inside referral option. So I'm gonna click on that. When you hit add inside referral, it's gonna only let you search for people that are within your market center. So let's say Tavia, and then whatever that amount is. Now for an inside referral, let's say you and I agree, Tavia, on 50-50. I need to do the math and enter that dollar amount here. Okay, so whatever that dollar amount is gets entered here, and then you hit add inside referral. So I'm just gonna say that. All right, so you're gonna start to see once you add stuff, some things will say over distributed, and that's because now we gotta move on to the next box. So I've come in and I filled out as much as I can. You have a deduction, this is where that goes. So let's say you use a transaction coordinator and you wanna go ahead and pay them out through your DA. That is where you do it. You do it under general information all the way down, add a deduction. You search for your deduction. Now, majority of our TCs kind of work with the majority of our agents. So we've already added a lot of the TCs that we use. So you select the one that you're gonna be working with. So let's say this one, and you enter the amount that you pay them. And once you've done that, you hit save. Now let's work on commission information. Now in commission information, remember that beautiful blue button I told you about outside referral? It's right there. So you're gonna hit add outside referral. Very important, you guys, in order to pay an outside agent, we need their brokerage W-9. Remember, we pay the broker, we do not pay the agent. So please make sure you are providing or you ask for that W-9 ahead of time, because as you can see down here, it's gonna ask you for either the EIN or the social, which obviously would be the EIN because it's a brokerage. So you enter that information, you're gonna enter the agent's name, what was the referral, either a percentage or a dollar amount, it's up to you. Was it a flat fee or was it a percentage? You enter that there. So let's say it was 50. See how it automatically calculated that dollar amount, and vice versa. If you enter a dollar amount, it'll automatically calculate the percentage. Okay, once you enter all of that, you hit add outside referral. Then lastly, just because I always say double, triple check your work, you're gonna come into your section, which is at agent payment. So we're gonna hit edit agent payment. Remember here, this was over distributed, so let's see, all right, let's keep coming down. Nothing to change here, everything's good, let me come back here. So one thing we didn't do that I didn't go over was the edit listing commission. So that bonus and stuff, you wanna come in here and make sure that you're adding it here as well. So remember $7.99, now you see as soon as I added it, total bonus is balanced. So now it balances itself out and save.
That transaction fee that they added, that, what is it for? That goes in that space?
The 300 is
Oh, it's
already
already
there.
added?
Yeah, it's already there. And once you cap out of it, we're gonna remove it, so, okay? All right, so now here, once you've gone through the three, make sure you hit edit on all three of your boxes, that's just a double, triple check. You're then gonna see the summary on the right. If it looks right, go ahead and hit submit. Okay, if it doesn't look right, don't hit submit just yet, but I do suggest doing it as soon as you can. Why? Because the same moment that they're checking your documents, they're just gonna jump over one tab and they're gonna check your commission tab. And if this tab is good, you're one step closer to getting your DA. Okay, but remember, we do not upload the DA until all the checklists are approved. And by all, I mean listed and under contract. Okay, because closed, obviously, we haven't gotten to the closing table yet. All right, any questions on this? The next thing I'm gonna do, guys, sorry, before, if you do have questions, I am gonna go into the condo and then the buy side.
One
just so
more
you
quick
guys can
question.
see. Sorry?
One more quick question.
Yeah,
Dakota had mentioned that we're required now to actually get the physical copy of the W-9 form from the brokerage. It used to be on the listing, there, but now I don't see it. Is it under the closed section still, or is it under contract?
so that has been put back on the table. So if that does come to fruition where every office will require that, I am gonna add it again. But that was taken off of the table for just a second for review. So hold on to that one.
So still.
But
still
what
be
she's saying,
asking
guys,
for it?
eventually, we are gonna ask you guys for the actual W-9. So if you have a referral and you're gonna be paying somebody out, we need that W-9. But we haven't added it here, because I need that final approval from Natasha here. Mainly about verbiage, just so you guys have that conditional understanding.
So the conditional for those that are under contract and closing after, what is it, the 17th?
Mhm.
We will have to then go back and upload that.
The W-9,
No, the conditional,
the compensation agreement, you're saying? Yes, you will. Yeah, great question. So if you're currently under contract with a listing agreement that is pre-7/24, right? So the most recent revised one is from July of 2024. You're using a listing agreement from there, you're under contract, you will need to submit a compensation agreement, yes.
but it's not in, DocuSign yet.
DocuSign already has the forms. It's under FAR, under the libraries. Yeah. Great question though. All right, so let's quickly jump into condo, just so you guys can see, there's not much differences. You have listing agreement, seller's property disclosure, net sheet, MLS sheet, articles of incorporation, all the same things, except now we've added the condo rider. Needs to be signed by the seller ahead of time. Michelle, that was one of the things that we were really on the fence, do we add it here or later? But we figured this is better. So these are things that you're gonna start noticing. Now let's look under contract. You're gonna have pretty much all the same things here, except receipts of condo docs. So we need the proof that the condo docs were received by that buyer, and then the addendums, et cetera. Then over here on closed, just like the last one that you saw, DA, HUD, copies of check, walkthrough, and modification to compensation. Any question on this one before I jump over to a buyer side? Okay. I'm gonna jump into a buy side, give me one sec. This one's open up here. All right, so a buyer, you're also gonna have that single family and condo that are the newest, latest and greatest. So now you will see on the buy side for consultation, so you'll have consultation, under contract and close. Consultation, we're gonna have these three documents, the pre-touring agreement, the showing agreement, and the buyer brokerage agreement. As you can see, the first two are conditional. But the moment you become engaged to this buyer and you guys are gonna start doing transactions together, we absolutely require that buyer brokerage agreement. Any questions on the consultation side? Pretty easy, right? Now, under contract, MLS sheet, tax record, purchase contract and addenda. We pretty much just went over this in the last section. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. You have your compensation agreements in here. Everything's in here for you. And now let's jump to close. Pretty much the same thing as what you saw on the sell side. The biggest difference was that consultation where we added those two documents. Now let's look at condo. Consultation, same thing as single family. Under contract, the biggest difference is going to be condo rider, as well as, I think that's it actually. Oh, the receipt of condo docs. And then closed, it's pretty much the same as the other one. So do we have any questions on any of the checklists for buy and seller side?
Curiosidad.
So when we submit, we upload all the necessary documents, we open up our offers and commission, and then, we send it for review. Are we then requesting it, or do they know that?
That's a great question. So you as an agent do not have to request a DA. We
Pero-
automatically upload the DA the moment the file and the commission tab have been approved.
Sí,
But
claro.
your file could be approved, but if you haven't completed and submitted your commission tab, which is the most important part for a DA, we cannot submit your DA, right? We can't upload it for you. So it's that two-part process. Is your file approved? And is
La universidad.
once both are approved, I don't know if somebody's talking on purpose, I'm sorry, but I can't hear you, hold that thought. Once those two are approved, then automatically they're gonna go in and upload your DA. So just so you have perspective from the back end. In the back end, our compliance coordinator goes in, reviews. The moment it is ready for DA, we have a little tag that you guys can't see, but we see it in the back end. It's big, bold, and red, and it says ready for DA. So now the MCA goes in every day and they filter out the transactions that are ready for DA, and then they start uploading the DAs for it. So this is something that happens daily based on our compliance coordinator advising us that you're ready.
Is there a window of time that you want to advise us that we have it in prior to?
Oh, absolutely. That's where I kind of talked about that timeline. So you have 7 to 10 business days before a file is fully approved. So if you're closing, today is 8/12. If you're closing on September 12th, you want to be sure that that is done a minimum of 10 days before closing. I mean, minimum. And that's kind of cutting a little close there, guys. Okay, I'll give you a great example. Today, an agent called, Davey, I get paid, I have a closing tomorrow and I want to get paid tomorrow. I said, okay, I go into our opportunity. She was on the right track, but it wasn't fully approved yet. She was missing. It was like page 4 of the as is, didn't have the initial of somebody. I said, you gotta send that out. Oh my God, do I really have to? She was like stressed out. I'm like, baby, I wanna pay. But I can't pay you if a contract is not fully executed, right? That's number 1. Number 2, she's come to my classes. And she still didn't do what I told her to do. Do what I say, people. Do what I say. I'm telling you, 7 to 10 business days is your minimum. And you're cutting it very close by doing that.
If you have a, developer's contract
Okay,
and, it's new construction,
yep.
what are some of the things that you have to fulfill?
Great question. So let's look at new construction.
Also, we have to select that.
Yes, that's a checklist item. Yep. So you select what type of transaction you're doing.
So,
So you have commercial buyer, buyer referral, single family, condo, townhomes. Just the only ones that we made actual edits to were single family and condo. But new construction, you're gonna have your buyer brokerage that's required, the escrow letter is conditional. Wire fraud prevention notice, we need the broker agent relationship or registration with the builder and the builder's purchase contracts and any addendas that are required. Every developer is different, which is why our list is very vague for new construction. Most important stuff we need are the contracts and your broker and agent relationship with that builder. Great question. Cause at that point, the compensation agreement and stuff is kind of already in everything, so yeah, it's a little different on that end, but great question. All right, buy side, I think we went through that. So again, the most important thing, guys, is for you guys to understand the timeline. Let's say you're working with a buyer, you can start uploading documents, but don't submit until you have an executed contract. And honestly, I love Michelle's suggestion, until that loan commitment has gone through, don't do the commission tab. I mean, you're giving yourself ample time, because let's say you give it, I don't know how many days for loan commitment period, let's say 7 days. If you know it can close anywhere between 30 to 45, just stay on top of it. Give yourself put yourself on the calendar, hey, go into my command opportunity and make sure I have everything uploaded. It's your job, guys. You guys have a reason to be paid, so show us the reason so we can pay you on time, okay? We definitely wanna always pay you guys on time. We hate having to hold checks. And one thing we really don't like is having to cut all the checks for everybody. Why? If Title can do it and wire it for you, get it done, get it done. All right, any questions about this? Cause that's it, we're done with the new checklist. Okay. Zoom world, is everybody good? Member minimum 7 to 10 business days, but I would say at least 15. That way you have that time to go back and forth. Life happens. Life happens. It happens on my own transactions and I teach this. I will submit, I'm like, I'm good, good. And then all of a sudden, 7 days later, I go to check and I was missing something. And so now I just delayed my process. So just making sure you guys come back in is key. All right, well, this was recorded, thank you so much, Zoom World, for that comment. This was recorded, Pines, I will send it out in the group chat. If you are here from any other office, like I know Michelle is here from Central, I don't know about anybody else. But if you are here from any other office, I am teaching in your market center this week. I will send the recording for your related market center that day. Okay, so that's just for the Zoom World Pines, you guys will get it today.
So the one that you record, you posted on the.
In the WhatsApp group, yes. All right. Okay, Zayna. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. You guys can't see me anymore. Remember, attend Adrian's classes,
Yep.
like 3 times.
Yep.
3rd time's the charm, you know that saying? 3rd time's the charm. Go to his
That's
classes.
the saying.
Bye, y'all. Have a great day.